Jambo mambo familia angu, karibuni nyumbani kwangu. Mimi ni Eli-Ben-Eli. Uko vizuri? Nzuri. Natumai yote ni sawa familia angu. You know, this is a very special day in the United States, and I have mixed feelings. about it. This is Thanksgiving. This is a day that I think on the one hand can be very nice, can be very honorable. On the other hand, I have issues with it. Okay, the United States is mostly built on land that was stolen from the native nations that were here prior to the Europeans coming here. You know, and it's a celebration of the interaction that took place initially in between the native people of the Americas, of North America, and the Pilgrims. You know, and when the Pilgrims came here, the Native Americans had all the land, okay, and they didn't have a concept of land ownership. Nowadays, the Native Americans are mostly found on reservations, and they have cheap alcohol and cheap Bibles. Kind of tells you a lot. But on the other hand, I will say this. Thanksgiving is a day that has evolved into something else. To me, Thanksgiving is a day of saying thank you to the Most High God. Thank you for the blessings of the last, the year that's about to finish. You know, and it's also become a family day. People get together with their family and, you know, have a good meal and have a lot of fun. You know, I live far away from my family, so I'll be celebrating on my own, but I will call my family and wish them a good Thanksgiving day. You know, I had to make a video today. You know, yesterday I mentioned the fact that a child was struck by Marwa's, what do we call the Thrilla? Marwa's buddy boy. Ran down a child. I thought of something in regards to that. Fellow the boy says that sometimes gold miners in that area will do something, you know, and before I say that, let me point out that animism is still a part of the culture of East Africa. Not everybody's a Seventh-day Adventist. Not everybody's a Muslim. Not everybody is a Christian of any denomination. There are still animists. There are still people that practice what we call witchcraft. I call it traditional religions. And some of those religions involve human sacrifice. And a lot of the time, the practice of traditional religion is synchronetic, you know, with the practice of the modern faith. So, you know, when people start throwing around allegations of practicing witchcraft and everything, I don't doubt that there are people who, you know, do a little bit of both. You know, there's a friend of mine who's a devout Seventh-day Adventist who let something slip in talking to me. He told me the saying is that what goes to the witch doctor never comes back. Like if you take food or something to a witch doctor in a bowl, the witch doctor is going to keep the bowl. But my question to him was, if you don't practice, you know, the faith of the witch doctor, how do you know about this? Oh, well, people say that. You know, My question is this, and I'm certain that some of you who, some of you out there will explain or tell me what the correct point of view should be. Is it conceivable that just like the gold miners, who, according to Fellow the Boy, will sometimes sacrifice a child when they're beginning to search for gold in that area, is it conceivable that maybe the inception of the party is viewed in the same spirit, and that child wasn't accidentally knocked down? What that was possibly a botched attempt to sacrifice a child. Something to think about. Something to think about. And then, I don't understand this stuff about, I find it confusing about Marwa's father striking the person who might have been the father of who I believe is supposed to be the father of the child. It's like, it makes absolutely no sense unless, of course, he approaches from the perspective of Seventh-day Adventist elder. But before I proceed with that, folks, if you haven't liked and first of all, thank you to all of the people who have recently subscribed. Thank you for all of those who have previously subscribed. Please like, subscribe, and support my channel. The numbers are climbing, and I'm very, very happy with that. But I'm also hoping that they will continue to climb. So please, take a minute. It costs you nothing. Please like and subscribe and support my channel. Make comments and everything, and participate in this channel. You don't know how much that means to your Babu Eli-Ben-Eli. Oh, I didn't say it, but Mimini Babu Eli-Ben-Eli Niaji, and I hope all of you are doing well today. I don't know. I know that unless you have lived in America, you probably don't celebrate Thanksgiving, which is fine. But I think that the idea of a day in which everybody says thanks to God, it's a good thing if you believe in God. If you don't, that's fine. That's your right. But back to what I was saying. The other possibility in this thing is this. We know that there is a certain amount of depravity and, how should I put it? We know that there's a certain amount of travel bro mentality going on. And we know that Claude Joseph is one of those people who is like a slavish imitator of Marwa. I have seen him with his glasses, but there's nothing wrong with his eyes, okay? But he goes around wearing dark sunglasses like the cult leader that he follows all over the place, and the question and he also has the beads and everything. The question that I have is this. If there's nothing wrong, Marwa has an excuse for always wearing the sunglasses. He's deeply ashamed of the fact that one of his eyes is blinded. And probably he wants to protect the other eye too. Consider the sunglasses protection. What excuse does Claude Joseph have of going around wearing, black glasses even at night? It's kind of silly if you ask me, but anyway. The thing is that I think he follows Marwa in everything. And I was hearing a video earlier today in which it was being said that you have to bear in mind there's something that I'm the only one who's calling it this, but I think that there is something that I call a Saga mentality going on at that party. These people have a cult-like mentality. They're prepared to sacrifice and do anything. Saga stands for Sodom and Gomorrah agenda. Okay, LGBTQ agenda, a NAMBLA agenda, I think is going on. And I've mentioned what NAMBLA is previously, but just for the sake of, for those who haven't heard me use that expression, NAMBLA is a National Association for Man-Boy, National Man-Boy Love Association, organization which in my opinion is something from the devil. They're trying to promote the legalization of allowing men or adults to, sexually interact with children. It's totally evil. The point is I think that part of the passport bro mentality encompasses all of that. Passport bros tend to be sex tourists. And one of the reasons that sex tourists become sex tourists, it's not just to chase women. In just about any country in the Western world, you have access to women, and if you have to use prostitutes, they're available. In certain places in Europe, that kind of thing is perfectly legal. In Mexico, it's perfectly illegal. I don't know of other parts of South America, but the point is that the reason that passport bros go overseas as sex tourists is very, very simple. A lot of them tend to be child molesters. They like molesting children. And I think that maybe some of what's going on with that party is an attempt to bring that kind of mentality to that part of Kenya. Okay, why else would children be at that party dancing? And why? I notice that some people whose names shall go unmentioned are focusing an awful lot of attention on the dancing boys. Have any of you ever heard of Bachabi boys? Do you know what a Bachabi boy is? A Bachabi boy is a young boy from anywhere from 8, maybe even earlier, up to, let's say, like the 18 or whatever, who dances at gathering of men with certain tastes. Okay, and a lot of these men are married men that are considered upstanding people in the community. And this is something that's found in a lot of parts of Asia, a lot of parts of Southeast Asia, and basically a lot of different parts of Asia. These boys are dressed up in women's clothes. They dance for these men, and then they're used by these men. And I leave it to you to ask what it is that they do with these children, which is disgusting as far as I'm concerned. That practice can be found in a lot of different parts of the world. And that's one of the reasons that sex tourists like to go to places like Thailand and, different parts of Southeast Asia. And I submit to you that a lot of that there is an attempt to introduce that into Nyabohansit. Why is it that Marwa says told people prior to the party, bring condoms. Okay, we're gonna free range this and free range that, and babies will be born here and everything. Yeah, that's what he's saying in general. But in reality, if those seeking interaction with Bachabi boys are also coming, and it's understood that if they're sex tourists, they probably will be there. Do you for 1 minute doubt that kind of thing might be happening at that party? Why not? It happens throughout any place in Kenya where you have a lot of tourists. the interaction in between tourists and the locals, a lot of things happen. People are poor. People are looking, it's like $1 a day, a couple of dollars a day may seem like a lot of money to a villager in Nyabohanse. To some of those tourists, it means absolutely nothing. Okay? And again, I go back to the question. Exactly what was the purpose of Christmas lists giving money to some of those boys that were dancing, those young boys? Okay, why was he paying a lot of attention to those young? If you're at a party and you're having a good time, have a good time. That's your business. Why focus all of your attention on young dancing boys? I don't know. I'm not saying anything one way or the other. All that I'm saying is that I know that somebody like Chris Muslis has encountered the whole institution of Bachabi boys in some of those countries that he's visited. How many countries has he visited? He's close to 150 countries. And a lot of those countries are in Southeast Asia and different parts of the world where that kind of thing happens. I don't know. But all that I do see is that he is rewarding those little boys and focusing a lot of attention on them while they dance. Okay, that's pretty much what happens. That's pretty much what happens, with Bachabi boys. And what happens afterwards, may God forbid, but I have no doubt that somebody who craves the approval, craves a friendship of Westerners and the world travelers and the wealthy like Marwa, I have no doubt that he's making the young females and the young males available to people who have those kind of interests. I find the whole thing absolutely disgusting, and my point of view is this. My point of view is that if the police in Kenya are worth their salt, they need to look into exactly what it is that's going on at the Villa Medillin, the Thrilla in Manila, in the Kenyan Manila party that's supposed to be going on there. People need to look at what's going on. And if you really love your village, you protect your children. There has to be a context as to why this man walked up to this other man, and to a younger man, and struck him on the face. Okay. Maybe he's whatever is going on around his stepson, whatever people might think of him, maybe this is an old traditional Seventh-day Adventist elder, and he doesn't like the kind of mess that he's seeing. And something has happened that led him to do that. Maybe it was his way of expressing anger at the fact that this man neglected his son, neglected to properly supervise his son, and his son was injured. Or maybe it was that he caught him doing something that he found abhorrent. Something tells me that before this is all over, some things are going to start happening at that party. And something tells me that some of those things may involve the police. And I'll tell you something else. I don't know how Kenya is, but in the United States of America, if you ride down a child with a motorcycle or a car, a couple of things are going to happen to you. Number one, you're going to be facing criminal charges. Number two, you're going to face a civil lawsuit. If Gitriba, let me not make any remark about his relationship with Marwa, but if Gitriba was running an errand for Marwa when he ran down that child, Marwa is equally liable for any civil damages that have been incurred by that family. In the best of all possible worlds, Marwa would be sued along with Thrilla. But in the villages, these people may have not even thought of the idea of, hey, let's go to a lawyer. You know, this child was injured and this child has medical bills and let's protect this. And maybe they don't even think that way. Maybe absolutely nothing will happen. My question is, how many other people have been injured? Has anybody died? It's like, it is highly, by good luck that this information got out. How much other things have happened that nobody's talking about? Cults tend to be very, very, very closed-mouthed and secretive and protective of their leader. Okay, and I think the Marwa YouTube cult is no different. They all adore him. They're all ready to protect him at any cost, no matter how much begging he does, no matter how he takes things from people that are very, very poor. My understanding is that some of the cattle and goats and chickens that he received were actually stolen. It's like the whole thing is dirtier and more depressing the more that you look at it. Folks, if you watch the video thus far, please like and subscribe and support my channel. In the meantime, it is Thanksgiving. It's getting a little later in the day, and there's a company in the United States called Hungry Man, and they make dinners and everything. I have a Hungry Man dinner that I'm gonna heat up and I'm gonna eat. To all of you celebrating Thanksgiving, please bear in mind what it initially meant. But if you're celebrating it with your family, mazel tov to you. And as to the rest of you, kwaheri. Bye-bye.